Amit Mupiri. He is just asking a question. Can you see read the question? This is, how do you look at the gig economy? Yeah, survival in testing times, especially when companies do not have money to pay. Okay. So would you want to go for it, or do you want me to respond to that?
I have an experience with the gig economy because I did it myself.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at one point I said, oh, Uber, right? Uber was new. I actually registered as a driver because I wanted to cover my cost going to the city. It's like $100.
Right.
And that time Uber wasn't even regulated. So the fees, the percentage that they get is really low. It doesn't cover the entirety of your cost, but essentially it sustains a part of your income. So you can't depend on one income anymore. Gone are the days that you have a job, you've got one income. This pathway of, going to uni, somehow, land in a job, save up, have your super and buy type of story is not the story that we're gonna have anymore. And I think if they don't have enough money to pay you as it is, how about if I have a social media following, bring them value? If that was me, if they asked me, oh, we don't have money. Well, how about if I have 10,000 followers in Instagram and I tweet, or you put that your logo or your company in my platform? Would we make a JV? Ask for equity. I would do something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think, okay, let me ask you, this is a very interesting question that Amit has asked. So do you see any difference between a gig worker and a freelancer? Do you think there is any difference in that?
Oh, no, I think it's a fine line between that two.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the freelancer,
The way I see it is, a freelancer probably is skilled in one particular skill, and he probably does the same skill for multiple employers. Okay.
Yeah.
You could be a designer, and you will probably and since you can't find one full-time job, or maybe one company cannot employ you full-time, you probably rent out your services morning to one company, afternoon to another company, third company. Whereas a gig economy, gig worker can probably do this, like you said, not only restricted to one particular skill, but the gig person can also end up being a Uber driver in the evening, or a kind of a delivery boy for a pizza service in the night, and even as being a student. So I would believe that the opportunities today for the employee side, the gone are the days of your full-time employment. But I think thanks to this gig workers and freelancers, there'll be more opportunities. And the onus is on the individual today. So if we have transferable skills which can be marketed, then we have a great opportunity to remain relevant. Earlier, what used to happen is, when you joined a company, you thought that it was the company's responsibility to skill you. Every 2-3 years, the company will train you and promote you to another role, and then the onus on training was probably on the employer. But today, because either way, there is nothing called a permanent job, because people keep changing jobs once in 2-3 years now. The future, as far as gig economy and freelancers, will squarely shift the responsibility of training away from the employer to the employee. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading this book called Radical Candor, and the author's name is Kim Scott. She's the CEO of Google. Actually, she's done a lot of work with Google, high up. And interestingly, the way Google works is not what we perceive Google works. They've got those superstars and rock stars, they call it. And, there's people that are really passionate about their jobs and not necessarily want to climb the corporate ladder. They're really good at what they do. So they want to stay there, and they're specialized, and you can't actually kick them out because they're so specialized, like a cybersecurity person, right? They get paid a lot too. So they don't encourage this mentality of trying to, dog eats dog. Let's just pull each other, And this is what's happening to the world at the moment, where dog eats dog, because we're conditioned to that mentality that, success looks like this. That I moved another step in corporate, hence I'm powerful and I'm more significant. They're actually training their employees to say, if you're good at that, then be good at it. And you don't have to do this path, the dog eats dog.
Yeah. So I think coming back, so the concept of careers are changing. Okay. Earlier, you probably thought of growing in terms of titles and seniority and designation. But now it's a kind of, it's all about managing your skills.